Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is It's Not About You. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. I wrote this blog for 15 years. Some of these are from a while back. If I encounter anything as I'm reading this to you that seems out of date, I will stop and give you the most recent information. And at the end, I will give you a summary of the topic based on all the things that are going on in the world today. Stay tuned to the very end for some special offers. It's never about you. I remember years ago coming to the revelation that most people are so preoccupied with their own stuff, they're not even noticing you. Later, I realized that even when they're reacting to you, it's never about you. It's still their own stuff. This is a good thing to remember, as today I'm going to a family wedding. It's been different for me because I've gone to thousands of weddings, but only 5 as a guest. As a wedding officiant, I get to show up for the rehearsal and perform the ceremony, get fed a nice meal, and usually leave before they cut the cake. Weddings are usually a chick thing, but I've never gotten carried away by them. My focus is as a minister, a professional. I think about the ceremony, the vows, the relationship, and the blending of family. Many women, I notice, go a little nuts about weddings. They all want to be involved, they all have strong opinions. The focus is all on the external details, the invitations, the colors, the flowers, the food, the music, the decorations. I've forgotten something. Oh yeah, the dress. I've been surprised at all the things that have triggered me. Deep-rooted family patterns are being played out unconsciously by everyone. I have my 85-year-old mother staying with me who's newly diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which she doesn't remember. And even she's noticing how other people are acting. Yesterday at the rehearsal dinner, I got to see some family members for the first time in many years. When seeing someone I haven't been on speaking terms with in nearly a decade, I spontaneously gave them a hug. And later on, I said to myself, well, I didn't expect to do that. For the rest of the evening, I felt curiously devoid of story. None of they did this, I'm right about that stuff floated through my head. I noticed others with their own stories towards me, towards my mother, and it wasn't about us. From the moment we're conceived, we start absorbing and creating pictures about ourselves and the world. We are constantly viewing things through these perceptions, and it's never entirely accurate. There's always distortion somewhere. The stronger the conflicting feeling, the greater untruth you are looking through. There isn't anything you can do about other people's impressions. If a number of people believe a rumor about you, it's like a wildfire of lies. You go crazy trying to put them all out. The best you can do is stand in your own truth and clear your own view screen, because it's never about them either. So I have to say, I wasn't certain which wedding I was talking about when I first started reading, because there were a couple family weddings, but this one was a really significant one. There was a lot of cyclical stuff, completion of cycles. There was a lot of people acting unconsciously. And for me, looking back at it now, the clearest thing was giving a hug to the person I hadn't talked to. It set the stage for them being weirdly a support person for me when I was in DC. I say weirdly because they were also the one who created the rumors and the untruths about me to the rest of the family. So even though we were meeting weekly for lunch, they had already said things like, I wouldn't be able to handle taking care of my mother with Alzheimer's. My mother would be too uncontrollable and would have to go to an institution. My mother was not uncontrollable. I managed things fine. It was really just their projection and their one-upsmanship. Many, many years ago now, a lot of water under the bridge, as my mother would say, and very interesting that I'm reading about this now. So how I relate to this now and how this works in the greater world today is we are at this time in the midst of an unprecedented election, and it's a historic time. We are living through things that we have never lived through before in history. We've had great examples. I'm talking from an American perspective, but from around the world, we have seen the UK overcome in a historic way more than a decade of governmental dysfunction. We've seen, where was it? And they were able to vote them out. So we are seeing around the world places where there are examples of the old paradigm of power, which is not powerful at all. It's actually weakness, but it's an attempt of power over others. And that is in the process of disintegrating. we are in a collective evolution of consciousness where we are moving towards a more collectiveness. We're going towards a more democratic way of functioning in the world. And the way I see it from a spiritual perspective is that we're each experiencing this evolution of consciousness. And as our greater selves, as consciousness comes into form, so we're able to embody our greater selves as consciousness, it wakes us up to our own internal sense of power. We're not tolerating intolerable things anymore. And even as we are each individually feeling more powerful, we're also feeling more connected with others around the world because we are all one. It is all unity as consciousness. So it's a really exciting time to be in, but it is also upending the old patterns of dominance, where in the old days it was a king or an emperor who was ruling things. And we have been evolving away from that for several hundred years. So it's an exciting time, but we're also seeing within our families a huge dichotomy. And what I see about that is, 90% of us plus are from dysfunctional families where there are addictions and illnesses, mental illnesses, and we came from parents who believed the dominant paradigm. Those of us who are still in that reality or frozen in trauma from that reality are buying the illusion that dominance is good, that we want one strong person to run things, and being oblivious to the fact that a person who's perpetuating that myth isn't strong at all. So it'll be interesting. These videos are evergreen. It'll be interesting to see people watching this and looking back at this time and having a perspective. It's exciting times. I think it's a Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times, and it's definitely an interesting time. And the best way to navigate it is operating as our highest self. So the last thing that I say in this article is about you can't do anything about other people's projections. You can't do anything about the slides that they're viewing you from. You can only stand in your own truth, your own reality, and clear your own view screen. And I find when I do that, then I can see these other people with compassion because they're definitely feeling a huge amount of restriction and pain. And what I'm noticing for us at this moment, those of us that have cleared our pictures that we've been viewing things through are in a tremendous amount of joy, excitement, hope, and anticipation. So if you like these videos, please click the like button and also subscribe. And that way you are telling YouTube to share these far and wide with people. It gets them out to folks that really need to see this information. And if you want an example of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the Skybox technique. It'll give you an expanded viewpoint of what's going on in your life. And you can also look at what's going on in the world from that perspective as well. If you want some techniques for manifestation, I have a self-study course called Manifesting Money and Miracles. It'll give you some energetic techniques for expanding abundance and unexpected opportunities in your life. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. There you can access my individual sessions where I take a look at you as essence and what's going on in your life today. And I can answer any questions you may have. And it's all recorded just for you. Also, if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, Manifesting Money and Miracles is a great preparation for my coaching program where I work with you one-on-one and give you specifically chosen consciousness techniques so that you can transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.